Yeah, I'm recording. So firewall types, proxy. What all the proxy types are there? Routers and switches, hub and subnet. Again, the subnet says that, let's say, in our house, if you are 4 members, okay, we get four IP address. If it is 4 billion users in the network, then how are you going to segregate or say give the IPs? So the talks in the subnet and packets. Again, when the data is transmitting from one end to other end, that we call it as a packets that comes in the layer 6. The topics also I will cover. And DNS, DHIP, algorithms. Again, algorithms is nothing but there are encryption types are there. Like when the data is moving from one end to other end, it should not be read by or eavesdropping by somebody. It always be encrypted. So again, there are multiple protocols are there. We'll cover that topic also. Type of attacks, what all the attacks so far, and example. Again, type of attacks means you might heard of Trojan, worm, or ransomware. So these are pretty much regular and very effective viruses. Cyber kill chain, like let's say when the attacker wants to targeted an organization or individual, there are steps where he has to first select the target, collect the information, prepare a payload, deliver a payload, exploit it, and try take the control on it on the device. So these all cover in the cyber kill chain. Rootkits are I always talk especially for the rootkits. Why? Because it's very dangerous and very difficult to identify in the networks. It's basically relies on the hardware. Okay, again, virus types, Splunk commands. I will give few some Splunk commands as you all of you due to the cyber security domain. Most of you. So I will talk on specific of the same tools and belongs to the same tool is Splunk. So I will give the few comments how we search and how to take out the data for the specific based on the specific of IP or user or computer or any other sensitive information. Again, I have the setup for forensics. Why? Because if you look at that cyber security, it always talk about three main domains. One is penetration tester, where he always we can, as of now we can call it as a attacker. He always take the quality of that particular environment or computer or any other network devices. So that's why the first step goes to pen tester. Okay, then again the cybersecurity talk about vulnerability management, VM. So vulnerability management is nothing but it will find out the weaknesses of the computer or mobile or name it any gadgets. Basically it has inbuilt some so many you know free attack types. So based on that it will analyze, scan the PC, and it will do the report. Don't worry, we'll have the practical just for our overall content understanding. I'm giving the just for you, that's all. And again we'll talk about the SOC. So this session is especially we are talking about the SOC. So security operations center. The security operations center is nothing but give the alerts. Alerts means it give the attacks. If you take any organization, what they does the network as a security analyst, they will have a separate window like the way we are showing on the Zoom or something like this. So the same way they have the dashboards. So in the dashboard, the alerts comes to the analyst. So the alerts could be different type of attacks. It could be ransomware attack alert, it could be you know bombware attack, it could be Trojan attack, or it could be pop-up attack. So there are adware attacks are there. So I will give the examples of what all the attack types are there and how the analyst is going to analyze it and what all the interest area and what all the details he has to collect it. Okay. So after that, there is another department. We call it as a forensic team, or sometimes it calls as a incident response team. So it depends on organizations to organizations. They will give that names. But yeah, there is another. department is called forensic team. What they does, basically, whenever the SOC analyst has created an incident, that means, let's say, take example of created a ticket, he assigned to the forensic team. What they does, they will go further into that particular alert and dig down it. If the attack is repeating or the pattern is coming again and again, so they will raise blocking, I know that rules we call it, so that whenever the next time the attack comes from the same IP or same source, immediately the attack blocks it firewall itself. Okay, so we have that. I have a setup for the forensic tool. I will walk through it. Again, Kali Linux or Backtrack or FI, there are multiple names. Okay, so it is using by pen tester. Pen tester has many tools to check. Why? See, it's not possible to manually check of the one computer. Okay, I can say that. Okay, one computer, what all the weaknesses are, how I am going to compromise it, I can see in and out. But what if it is more than one computer? What if it is the computer is having multiple applications? So that's why the easy task is to, if they have the software, again the second time we can call it as a software or tool. Using the tool, basically they will check the quality, what all the other areas which can attacker enter into the premises. Attacker group, you might heard or have seen that, the corporate has been attacked or somebody is demanding money. Or the best example nowadays is ransomware attack. Ransomware attack is nothing but they lock the data. They have some different pin. They lock your data, and if you want to access your data, you have to ask key or the digits, digital number from the ransomware attacker. Definitely they will demand you money. So the best example is Uber. If you heard that Uber has been compromised 2017 or 2018 between, it's a huge loss for them. Basically, the complete of most of the like 1.7 million users data has been they logged, and they asked money in the bitcoins or currency, digital currency. Obviously, later on they filed many complaints in USA, but it doesn't work. They try to take back the data, but it doesn't work. Basically, the lock keys patterns they tried, but it doesn't work. So finally, it's offline information. They paid in money to the attackers group so that they got customers data. Something like that happened. We'll talk about ransomware attacks. When we talk about ransomware attacks, you'll get a clarity. And nowadays it's a passion, like every country to country is having their own cyber attackers groups. So I think most of us might heard of China being attacking other companies. It's not like that. Even USA has multiple sponsored groups are there, attacker groups, as North Korea is also having actively. Even Japanese also in the part. Even all these areas are one part. The other side is Israel is the best. Why? Because they started this thing because of their product. They want to they sell their products, so they have their own sponsored attacker groups. We'll see that what are the major attacker groups. And there is another product called Awake. It's a network product. I will walk through that, how that in alerts comes. Okay, what is the network level tool does basically. And after that, Azure, you might have seen that cloud based. Okay, for Google APC or Amazon, AWS, Microsoft Azure. So the Azure also they built one application or software or tool for the cyber security. So basically these two products majorly they sell to the customers, security or Sentinel. I will show you that also. CrowdStrike, again, it's a wonderful platform. It basically works as an antivirus. We can say that. But this is also one product. And after that, IDS and IPS. Intrusion detection, intrusion prevention technologies. It lies on the before the firewall or after the firewall. So it's basically detection and prevention. Intrusion detection system, intrusion prevention system. Hope you guys are clear with my voice or words? Is there any challenge? Say somebody, yes or no? Hello?
It's clear.
So after
It's
that,
clear.
it's clear, right?
Yeah.
So next, we talk about Splunk architecture. It's very wonderful tool, because if you look at the top 10 SIM tools, the Splunk comes in the second page. The first page is logarithm. So it's very wonderful architecture they built. And after that, Splunk dashboards. We are specifically talking about Splunk SIM tool and alerts investigation. How we are going to investigate the alerts, as we discussed before. Types of the alerts comes. So alert to alert, the investigation is different. And the email header, you might heard that phishing emails or spam emails, something, any other unwanted emails comes. How we do the analysis basically. And instant handle types, there are types of instant handlings to the organization. Sometimes what they does, the Splunk analyst only investigate and close the alerts. Okay. uh, Other organizations, they follow this thing. First they will the SOC analyst will create it, will assign it to the VM will scan, then a VM again assign it to the safety. Otherwise VM regularly do the scanning, and after that the alerts comes to SOC, then SOC created a ticket or incident, it assign it to the forensic team, they further research. Okay, compliance types. It's like compliance is nothing but a different organization. You might heard like we have seen that hospitals are one type of organizations, and software companies are one type of organizations. Auditing companies are there, service-based companies are there. So these are the types of companies. So in the cyber security, we call it as a compliance type. There are different type of compliance organizations to organizations. If you look at the hospital, what data we have to save? We have to save the patient's information as well the doctor's information, appointment details, and doctor patient health details. So in that case, we use the HIPAA government. So the same way they have the different type of compliance types. We'll discuss that also. If it is IT, that is different. And followed by mock entries are there. In between also I used to ask the questions when I explain. So be patient and attentive also. Resume preparations I can help, but I will not prepare for you. You can share it to me, I can validate it and support. Support is always there. Okay. Hope I'm clear with my words and content so far. Okay. Shall I go to the next topic, or is there anything you want to discuss? Yeah. See, one more good opportunity for you guys. If you heard or seen any other type of cyber attacks or discussion you want to discuss about the particular, about the cyber attacks or topics or devices, please bring it to me. I can take that also and explain to you. No issues. Okay. I think someone should follow me. Yeah, say yes or no, or is it clear or not? Someone should
Yeah.
unmute.
Clear.
Yeah. Good.
Hello.
Yeah.
So, as we discussed, what is cybersecurity system? Let's come to that topic. So, first, do you want to introduce yourself among yourself, or shall I continue?
No, continue.
So, can you give me what is your understanding about the cybersecurity? Just one or two words, as you think. No issue. There is no validation at all. Just give me what you think of the cybersecurity. You have to speak. So when you speak, so that I can get the clarity about your understanding. That way I can bring it to you the topics. Olu, there?
So yeah, cyber security is all about like providing security to the information world, like information tech world and everything. It should be protected by some uh, attacks for that.
Okay, great. Purna? Am I there?
Yeah. Cybersecurity is nothing but providing some confidence.
Speak a lot. You have to provide.
Am I audible?
Yeah, audible. Speak loudly.
Yeah, cybersecurity is nothing but providing some confidentiality, delivering some information.
Okay. Krishna?
It's like protecting data from one end to another when it is transferring, uh, and when it is in the how it's just to protect the data of the organization.
Okay. Chaitanya,
Yeah, in software application, everything personal client personal information or applicable like information are storing in everything nowadays. We're storing on everything in cloud or online, whatever maybe. So we have to protect our client information from attackers.
see. Okay. So whatever you guys explained is absolutely right. The point is what to protect. What to protect. It should be sensitive information. Okay. Sensitive information, right? What is the sensitive information? What sensitive information basically we have to protect? It should be personal information or sensitive information. Any name you can give it, username or passwords or credit card information or addresses. Nowadays, we have the habit of uh, displaying everything in the on the Facebook or any other social medias, right? Just for the habit or just for not to know the what it will impact on us. We definitely share the where you studied and what is your name, where you live, and contact numbers, everything we used to say. That's the reason. I think you might see in that spam like messages you used to get. If you click on this, you'll get a job, or if yeah. Another good topic. Let me note that I can give that how to validate that spam messages. Whether before clicking on it, is there any chance to validate? I just added it, no issues. Okay, I will talk to you that also. Okay, username, password, credit card information, address, any other information which belongs to us, we should not be disclosed. Okay, so but again we are talking about we nowadays we all work on the network or digital platform. Definitely it has uh, three types of pictures. So we are the users, and on top we always use the application. If you want to hear a song, VLC player or some other Adobe or YouTube, you know YouTube or some other application, user always depends on the applications. Okay, and an application always depends on the operating system. Again, the operating system always depends on the hardware, right? So it works like this. But are there any safety on any layer, any of these tabs for the user? No. Anywhere we can disclose or lose our data. Like I said that rootkit always targets on the hardware. There are other highly sophisticated malwares are there, but in rootkit is very dangerous, where it is always act as a original hardware. It hidden in the chip. It changes the frequency of the chips. Okay, the operating system also, it added as some services like DLLs. You might heard of the operating system of Windows. It will add as a listimate or svc.exe services or something like that. So it's very hard to identify the softwares on a operating system level. Even applications also. So you might want to change that formats of from one word to Excel or Excel to Word or any other you know, formats or documents, or if you want to create a clips, video clips or some other software. There are multiple softwares for any activity. Any activity, if you search on the Google, you will get the software. But how do you know that it's a really not compromising your information or it's not taking your information, how to validate the software. Even the software level also, it's we have the chances to compromise our details. The user, even as if I am the user, I may say if I am logging into the correct page, let's say if I am logging into my Facebook page is correct, is it originating from the real Facebook site or any Gmail? Sometimes, if you want to do the payment, it will nowadays it has come that UPI or networking you can pay it and the pop-up comes, you need to enter your username and password. But is that pop-up or password, the original tab is real? So there is also chances to lose our username and passwords, right? So basically there is no where we can save. Anywhere we can lose our data, there are chances and there are the type of the attacks. So basically we have to save our sensitive information from the cyber attacks. The cyber attacks can target on your networking area or the broad view. They can target on your computer or networking area or any social engineering area. Social engineering area is basically they will gather information. If they want, if they targeted on a particular user, they will follow your social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. They collect all the information and they will see the pages, what are the pages you are liking, you are sharing to your friends. So according to, they will prepare one beautiful page, or they say that it's a season and holiday offer. If you come to this page, or if you log in or register, then you will get this benefit, 1% or 2% or 50%. So they prompt you to give the information. If the attackers wants to target you, basically he has to search and do the basic level of analysis about the particular user. So accordingly they will prepare a page for it. Okay, that is one way. So what is cybersecurity? Cybersecurity is, we just talked about one user. What if the attacker or attacker groups want to compromise organizations? So definitely the organization should have the better and quality level of cyber security layers, we call it as. The layers is nothing but penetration testing. So that's why the organizations is always have the penetration tester or attackers inside the organizations. So basically it is required very highly for the banking sector. So the banking sector guys always validate their apps through the attackers. Sometimes they give it to the third party or hacker groups or some other uh, open source or franchisee groups. There are multiple groups, or they will say that you just try to attack our PC or computer or give the information what you can do on our organization. If it is there any loop, definitely they will forward it to the VM team, vulnerability managed team. So they will have the patches. What is the patch? Patch is nothing but, let's say if there is weakness on your application of the front page. Let's say if you want to apply on the particular job, so you went to the career tab and you opened it, and there you have seen that actually they asked your details, give me your father name, your name, or upload your resume, and they ask about your address details. So in the tab you found that rather you are giving your address, you just given some characters, different characters, like some blah blah blah, you cannot stars hash whatnot you given. So it accepted. It accepted means there is a loop, there is a gap in that API. So the attacker gives that, boss, if you're giving like that, there is no limit you have given in the text. If I enter, if I don't want to close the tab, let's say it should be 250 characters or 250 words, something like that. If you given more than that, it can be compromised. So just for example I'm giving. So that way they will give the quality analysis to the VM team. The VM team again looks for the, if it is Windows tab or if it is Windows related operating system, or let's say Linux, or they will give the recommendation from the recommendation part comes from VM. Why? Because VM is already having that patches details. They always the VM itself is built it with so many organizations patches like Microsoft, okay, Microsoft or Adobe. So they will keep all these patches. There are types of VMwares are there. Rapid 7 is the best one. Why? Because it is having other features also. We'll talk on that when the VMware topics comes. So basically like this, the penetration tester always check the quality of the organization, and then VM will look for the patches. Then the SOC is always there in the backend. So if you look at here, there are proactive attacks and deactive attacks. Deactive is nothing but we are the same team. The same team is the SOC team. The SOC team is always look for the alerts. So whenever the attacks comes, it will correlate, normalize, and it trigger alerts. So just for the overview understanding, I'm giving. Okay, but okay. Now this is the cyber security of the what is the production of required. Like as we discussed, there are state sponsored attacker groups are there. Okay, and there are top 5. I just want to give the one best example for every time. There is one attack called Stuxnet. Okay, the Stuxnet is very dangerous. It is state sponsored attack. Basically, the sponsored by USA and Israel. They targeted the Iraq, nuclear plant. So they basically build a bomb. Bomb is a it's a worm is a virus. How does it work? It replicates. Let's say I built one worm is a virus. Okay, virus I built it like if the page comes, you just give the start with A and end with, give me another star or add. It's a username. Okay, in a whatever tab it comes, the password also it selects any password like random password. The worm is replicate the same thing. If this is the password and username you given to the worm, the same username password it repeats to the all the other front pages like APIs. Like the API means the username password. We're supposed to enter the username password. So whenever tab comes, it always gives the same username and password, same username and password, same username and password. So it replicates itself. It will not change anything. It will replicate. So the kind of Stuxnet has they inbuilt it into the pen drive, and it was attacked 2005, but they identified in 2010. So the worm was inbuilt into the pen drive. They left near to the organization, that particular plant. The guys somebody picked, or I don't know how they organized. That was connected into one of the PC inside the computer. Like the days is pen drive is very costly, and whenever find the pen drive, definitely some people have the habit of immediately collecting into the laptop, or if any pen drive we found in the road, or if it is getting free of cost. So the same way they connected immediately into the near to the plant. So the plant targeted is programmer logic controller. It's a programmer logic controller. It is there. So it always controls of the heat and temperature of the plant. So the worm is loaded into the pen drive. The pen drive is likely gone into the one of the computers. The computer again spread to the other computers and other controls of the computers, and it finally reaches to the PLC. The PLCs, when the worm is reached, it is abnormal activity. Let's say the PLC activity is the temperature is getting 21% or temperature degrees, then it should maintain that temperature. If the outside temperature is getting greater than 30 or 35, it should be balancing to the 21. But the worm, what it does, so worm is basically reaching into the network. After reaching inside the worm, there is another software is there. It's called as a PLC. Basically they built for this platform, programmable logic controls. It controls the temperature of the that particular plant. So it's abnormal means if the temperature is going up and down, it is not doing its job. It's again, if it is the 35 temperature, it is giving the 40 temperature. If it is giving 40 temperature here, then it has increased to 55 temperature. That's how it's exploited. So they succeed, and they later on investigated how that was happened, how the plant was exploited. It's basically one fifth of the percent the plant got exploited in that time because of this one. That Iraq was no, it's not obeying to the international laws. They started their own plant of nuclear plant. They wanted to destroy it. So they started somewhere in 2000 year, and they sent that pen drive 2005, and later on it took 5 years to identify how that was happened actually. So that is the no. We have seen that Stuxnet is the Stuxnet again. It's a bomb. Bomb is that way it compromises one country of the nuclear reactors plant. As we said, as I said that it's a state-sponsored project or sometimes group-sponsored projects. Sometimes individual achievements also. Individual achievements. I want to give the one example of Israel. There is checkpoint of firewall you might heard. So they have their own group. They always target to the small organizations to compromise it. Later on, they will go and represent their boss. Give me one chance. We'll present how your network is performing, and they do the VMware like what we discussed the VMware, the VMware scanning, and they will give that was these are the viruses are there. It's very complicated, difficult. You are not safe in the network. Try to use the checkpoint. Checkpoint has these features. It can prevent it at the first stage. So that's how the Israel used to sell their products initial days, but nowadays even if competition is increased, so attackers are everywhere. So we have to be safe and we have to protect our information as a user point, our corporate point of view. They have to protect their users of computer or network or servers or cloud. Even like nowadays it's a challenge to compromise the Azure or any other cloud platform. It's not like that. Even they have the plenty of you know ample of the challenges to protect the users information. Am I clear here or any doubts?
Yes.
Okay.
So other few more attacks you might heard, or let me walk through that. These are the biggest cyber attacks in the history. Destruction of the Melissa virus. It's, in 1919s it was compromised so many computers. Even NASA also got compromised in 1919. NASA also compromised in 1919 by James. Some James Jotnathan was there. He successfully logged into the NASA, the space center, and he been there in 21 days. He can access any computer of the NASA up to 21 days, and he downloaded many softwares of the NASA also. Okay, and Estonia is a country in 2007. Estonia country, they have multiple websites, like in government websites are there, private sector websites are there, all included, and around 58 websites got compromised in Estonia. And Sony PlayStation, it's very bad to heard, because in 2014 the Sony got compromised, and they still don't know how many users are got compromised. They just given no, only 77 billions of users, and unfortunately they supposed to release one cartoon movie that was also got downloaded, and it they before they release date somebody is put on the website, the open web. So someone says that that says that it's a behind, Israel was there for the attack on the Sony workstation. Even Adobe got compromised, 2.9 million users, and they said 2.9 were compromised, where 3.1 was only suffered loss of their passwords and identities. And again, Yahoo also got compromised in 2014. Still, they don't know how many users are compromised. They just given the 500 million users got compromised, and all of the users' passwords, usernames, credit card information, everything was stolen. Okay, so the same way WannaCry is again ransomware attack. So you might heard in 2015, 16, even in India also so many police stations got compromised. They locked basically. They are red and blues. The screens got used to appear on the screen. If you want to access your PC, you have to pay ransom data or digital data or Bitcoins data. That's how they used to get the money of the hacker. It's basically group of people or attackers or some one attacker can also do. Like in NASA got compromised by one particular uh, attacker only. His name is James Jonathan, I believe. That's how it got. Again, as we discussed, there are multiple famous hacking groups are there. I just want to give you of the names. And for you guys, tomorrow there is a one link I'm sharing to you in the chat. So please go through this news. It's open only. It's basically give the what all the websites or attacks got compromised. Give the real time data. You just go through any attack, read, and try to discuss in the class. So if it is any challenge, sure I can give the explanation, but try to read any one attack. That's all. Try to read any one attack. I'm sharing to the other website where it is having all the attackers group names. Might see these are the attackers group names. Admin at the rate 0338, APT 1618, Black versus Black Tag or Chimra Flavor. Many. These are the equation for Fin10, Fin6, Fox Kitchen, all meta groups file. This is interesting one. Lazarus group. So the Lazarus group is the threat group that has been attributed to the North Korean government. Belongs to North Korea. The group has been active since at least 2019 and was reportedly responsible for the November 2014 destructive Viper attack against the Sony Pictures Entertainment that we discussed. So this was the group, and this group belongs to North Korea. Was attacked Sony. Sometimes attacker used to proudly say that we are the responsible for the attack, or sometimes attacks might not give the information, but nowadays it's a passion. If they give that openness, then their name will face. And these are the associated groups. Again, this is the main group. Associate groups: Garden of Peace, Jing, Nickel Academy, Hidden, so something like that. What technicality they use, how they attack, what are the types they try to reach to the any particular organizations or user. So techniques, enterprise, this is the ID. They always give the one ID to the attack. In serial attack, access token manipulation, created process with the tokens. Lazarus group keylogger, Kilologger obtain user tokens from the interaction sessions to the execute itself with API call create process as a user A under that user context. So their token is a temporary token. You might heard that, or OTP, the best other example. We'll get a OTP and it has 5 seconds of the limit time. So before that you have to give their information. So here the token, they got the token, and using the token, they try to enter it. So other enterprises, account manipulations. Lazarus group malware, Whiskey Delta 2 contains the function that attempts to rename the administrator's account. So basically they have the administration username, password, username pattern is to rename the administrator names. Acquired infrastructure domains. Lazar Groups has acquired infrastructure related to their campaigns to act as a distribute point and C2 channels. So distribute points means they reach to the organization, and the C2 is control, command and control channel. That means they have the access, like remote access. You might heard that remote, like you can, whenever your PC is having a problem or you want to log into the other computer through remote. So any desk .exe. You might heard that it is basically remote login software. You can log in from your computer to the other computers. So it's a basically software, but without software also we can build our communications to the other side of the computer. How? Using the Windows command terminal. Again, acquired infrastructure web services has started malicious downloads on GitHub. GitHub, you might heard that there are, it's a, it is acquired by Microsoft. Basically, it is uploads, it more helps into software developers where they can store their, source code or some other applications, or some people used to share or sell that softwares, and it's like a common hub and common platform for all the developers to store their information. Nowadays, organizations also using for the giving the access to the softwares. It is easy for them to access any source code, or they want to write or edit their source codes. So in the GitHub, what they did, they created one page or one common platform, and they built it their own softwares. Again, the softwares when you install on your computer, you might say that it's a open software for the audio player or some other player, just for example. But when you open and try to playing or some other your own videos, but the behind the software is the activity is different. It is giving the tunnel to the his computer, like C2 what we discussed now, command and control. So that's why they built it their own malware softwares, so that you definitely install it. The activity is basically made for you believe that it's for the audio player, but they know the task. The malware has conducted C2 over the HTTPS. So this is the again, it's a GUI based. GUI based means global user interface. So basically, they take the access to the HTTP or HTTPS hypertext transfer protocol. It's a non-security. That means security. So the port 443 being used here. So we'll talk about the what is port, but as we are talking about the group attacker groups, I just give it small example. You can see application window discovery. If you click on here, you'll go through, you'll get the better understanding. Malware in India, obtaining and sends to the its C2 server. The title of the windows for each running process. The keylogger also report the title of the window in the foreground. So keylogger is nothing but it's captured all our keyboard entries, and so whenever the keylogger is there, it's very complicated. The keylogger, it will capture your keyboard activities and it send it to the attacker server. It's always active. Sometimes the attacker keeps for 1 hour or 2 hours, sometimes 8 hours, sometimes ever. So that's how the keywords, whatever you are using, it will always send to the C2 server. Multiple groups are there. I'm just read out one attacker group. Fox Kitchen is also very interesting. Is threat actor with suspected nexus to the Iranian government. So it's again Iranian government that has been active since at least 2017 against entities in the Middle East, North Africa, Europe, Australia, North America. Fox Kitten, has targeted multiple industries vertical, including oil, gas, technology, government, defense, healthcare, manufacture, and engineering. So Fox Kitten is sponsored by Iranian government, and they have the associate groups UNC 757. As we said, attackers want, if they want name, they will confess themselves. The attack was being done by us. So they have different names also, Pioneer Kitten or Parasite. And what are the techniques they used? So here it is, technique used. That's enterprise brute force. Let me open this. Brute force has brute force to RTP credentials, remote desktop protocol. RTP is one protocol. The protocol is nothing but it has standard instructions. Like the protocols, basically there are multiple protocols there, but RTP protocol made for the remote desktop protocol. It got the instructions of whenever the user want to access from one PC to the other PC, one end to other end, you need to give the access. You need to enable the sessions. That was this protocol instruction. That's all. I just opened one brute force. Does anyone heard of the brute force? Can you see the screen? Brute force. Hello.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Adversary may use the brute force techniques to gain access to accounts when the passwords are unknown or when password hashes are obtained without knowledge of passwords for an account or set of accounts. An adversary may systematically guess the password using a repetitive or irritative mechanism. Brute force passwords can be take place via interaction with the service that will check the validity of those credentials or offline against previously acquired credentials data such as password hashes. I will give in a simple words. The brute force is nothing but they try to guess your passwords. Let's say attacker might find your username or guess if your username is correct. So he used to attempt passwords with different characters. Let's say username is also missing. The username is, let's say, Balu and the password is Balu at the rate 123 or Balu at the rate 15 or Balu. So he just guessing it. But nowadays we have the mechanism. If the attempts are more than 3 or 4, the account get blocked. What if the username is also passed? It changes. Let's say Balu again, Balu 14 or 56 or some other characters he might use, and passwords also he repeated after 3 attempts. Change the username or Balu USA or Balu 6 or Balu 7. So that way, what it is doing basically, it is making busy of your application or some other. Let's say your Gmail account username is Balu67. Okay, the password the attacker guessed is something like a Balu or something you written in the password. So every time he's making busy. The username changes, he attempts 3 passwords, again username changes, again 3 passwords, again changes user. So that's how the brute force is overwhelming actually, or overwhelming of your applications. So uh, let's say the small organizations it is having, the small organization says that we says the postal cards, and they given one page saying that whenever you want the postal cards, please give your request on the our website text. So you just give your, normally if we are legitimate of the user, we give the uh, name and address, and we'll give the quantity of the postal cards where. But if that is the attacker, what he does, he will give the name as usual, whatever he wanted to give, and the address. The address he will not stop. He will, the text is not limit. As we said, if it is 250 words or 250 characters, you should be limit on the text. If they're not given any limit, it will be continue. It will always keep on busy of the front page. So if the other user want to access, he can't access. Why? Because he's given busy activity to the particular website. So that's why the brute force is nothing but he's trying to guess of the passwords and usernames, attempt to compromise the user credentials. Is always, most of the time the brute force works on the login pages or banking sector always use. Still, I remembered, in one of our colleague, he knows that his wife username, but password he doesn't know. He just guessed and we write a small script. Luckily, we got into the bank account of the SBI. So that's how the brute force attacks was. Hope I'm clear about the brute force. Hello, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So these are the type of attackers are the brute force and PowerShell. PowerShell is something scripts used for the execute services. Basically, if the administrator is there, so if you want to send a application installation, let's say if they want to send a Adobe Flash player on one PC we can install it like next we'll install on the one PC. What if the company administrator is having multiple more than 100 user accounts? What he does, he creates simply PowerShell command and he will push it through the SCM. SCM is nothing but it controls all the computers. It's like Active Directory thing. Through Active Directory we can do it, but SCM is more focus on the entire applications of the particular Windows. So that's why PowerShell you write a command to the install on every PC of this particular Adobe Flash player. So that's all it will at one shot it will install on the all computers. It's lazy. What if that like administrator doesn't know the PowerShell script how to write? So he basically sits on the open platforms or website or GitHubs here and there. Somebody said that the scripts works, you try it and you just need to give the source path and everything works well. I tried. Some other user he doesn't know, so he immediately downloaded it, he showed that path or software, the Adobe Flash player, he executed, but that was made for some other activity. The PowerShell whatever he downloaded was it, for the simple example, the attacker made for to shut down the computer. So that can also happen. So whenever the administrator or anybody is downloading or any implementing, they have to be more careful. Why? Because they are playing with multiple systems. Users is not basically one user is compromised. That's okay. But what if the more than one user compromised? That is impacts to the organization. So credentials for from password stored, password managers. So these are the Fox kit. The other one is interesting. Okay, if advanced no production test is a threat group that has been attributed to Russian General Staff Main Intelligence Directorate, 85 Main Special Service Center Military Unit. As this could be surprise, it's not only country to country. The army could also be there. The army could also build their own web attackers group. So they try to steal of other countries. Like I heard that Chinese always target to the US military, and they used to read of the blueprint of the flight or any other military equipments. So that's why Russian also does the same thing. USA, Russia is always there. So reportedly compromised Hillary Clinton campaign. So it is a whole story. The election time, they said they compromised. Or it's a lot of news and focus went here and there. But yeah, the associated groups are Swallowtail, Group 7, StateNet, SOFA-C. So these are the associated groups. And how they does, as we discussed, access token manipulation, token impersonated or theft. So the token, the OTP, should not be shared with other members, and it should not be tell to the other members, or be careful with your phone whenever the password or OTP comes, if that shared, or it can be misused. Basically, application layer protocol, mail protocols. So how they use the SMTP as a communication channel in various implants, initially using self-registered Google Mail accounts and later compromised mail server of its victim. So simple mail transfer protocol. Basically, all we are having the email accounts. Okay, in the email account, there is always two protocol words. One is POP, the other one is SMTP. POP is receiving, SMTP is uh, post office protocol, POP, POP. So again, it has versions. That is one protocol. The POP3 is the latest version. Okay, SMTP is a simple mail transfer protocol. It will transmit. Basically, there are two protocols always work for the email servers. One is receiving protocol, the other one is sending protocol. So that's what they are discussing. They used SMTP protocol. That means sending protocol they used. Okay, application layer protocol. Okay, channel in various implants. So they implanted in various places, initially using the self-signed, self-registered Google Mail account. They created one Gmail account. Using that account, so they send that email to the particular SMTP protocol to the particular email account. Then later on compromised email server of the victims. Basically, they prompted up other side of the user to send a email to the his or her Gmail account. Okay, once whenever he got that email from the legitimate, the real user, So they used the details of the where that has come and what other information registered, self-registered sign is there. So using that, they compromise the other users. We'll discuss it. SMTP and POP protocols. We'll have that protocol session separately. But yeah. And I'm just pinging this group also. You please read as many attacker groups if you want, and you can discuss with me. They basically see when I'm saying listening is easy and it's very attractive also. But you should also be like this. When you try to explain something, na, that's how the learning starts. So don't stop it here. After the session, please go and read any attacker news, the latest attack, where and when it happened, what technique they used. We just try to capture 3 points: which organization they attacked and what was the technique they used, what they have done on that organizations. The same. If it is possible, at least try to read two attacker names, and what technique they used and which organization they targeted. Okay. So we've been talking about attacks. But what are the other types of attacks? We discussed the worm attack is there. Stuxnet uses the worm malware. And we read about the, just now we discussed about SMTP, using the SMTP, they attack. So other top 5 cyber attacks like malware. In terms, malware encompasses various type of attacks, includes spyware, virus, and worm. We just discussed it. And viruses, again, there is a Trojan virus is there, adware virus is there, spyware is also, the spyware is scared you. See how it scared you. Says that see, if you're not registered here, you will lose something, or your subscription may be losable. Let's say if you have the Prime account, they will say that the account going to be expired. If you give your details, or if you share to somebody, you will get this many benefit, or the account going to be deactivated because your date of birth is not matching, or your personal information is, or credit card information, whatever you entered is not matching, something like that. They will scare you. The phishing is nothing but they will give you the one beautiful link or one related link, like social engineering. We discussed the social engineering nothing but it made for the particular user or particular organizations. Let's say if the organization is the spy phishing email, they says that boss, this is the way going to be this email has been come from the payroll section. So if you give that no your full details, like what is your pay, which account you are using, where to create the amount, and other information we are cross-checking from the payroll department, please share it with the league. So that's why they will tempt you. And the man in the middle attack, let's say they will be somewhere in the communication. The first we discuss, if you remember that data always transmit in the encrypted so that the middleman can't read. There is the chances. Let's say if you are in the railway station, open network, or if you are in the bus station, nowadays everybody is getting free network for half an hour or 1 hour in India. Okay, so the same network, the other attacker might also connected. He has lot many of malware softwares where it will sniff all the information which user is accessing this Wi-Fi, and what all the other sites he's been accessing. Yeah, does he entered any username, password? So the man in the middle attacks. He could be also there in the same junction. So we have to be careful. Be careful means we are careful about our username and password pretty much. What how do we careful about the data transfer? Like if we are entering our details, it is transmitted to the router, and from the router it is reaching to some website. But how we are sure that the data is not compromised in between? It's very challenging. We can't say that, but at our side we can see that is that site is coming from the real site or not, like HTTPS secure site, that means the data is encrypting. So those certain areas we can check it. The other is denial of service attacks. Like if you remember, I given the example of the postcard selling department. The website got busy with the brute force. If that attempts are 5, it's okay. If attempts are 10, it's okay. If attempts are 10,000, it is not okay. That means you are totally occupying of the user services. It can't serve to the other legitimate user. So denial of service attacks. There are two types of attacks are there. Basically, DOS, denial of service attacks, or DDoS, denial of distributed denial of service attack. The distributed is basically occupying use of your services. So it can't answer to the other services. We'll talk that one. SQL injection. The SQL injection is sequence query language. It is made for the SQL server or database. It's very easy. Even I still remember if I go back to the back, the SQL always used to give the report of the error. Let's say if I enter the wrong password, immediately I will get a pop-up, boss, you entered the wrong password. Okay. If I given the right password, your account was successful. So if the attacker is want to gain something else, he tries, like he gives the some username and password is different. Password is different means he given the some value and character might be used, like and special characters, any special. Can you see that cursor? These are the special characters, dollar or any other special characters he might use, and it allowed it. If the password is wrong, it will give the password is wrong. So in that case, you can use the denial of service attack. It makes the busy of the query. The database is nothing but it will fetch the data, right? If you want to log into your Facebook, you will give the username and password. The page immediately pop-ups and give the your page. But if you are trying to compromise, the username and you are guessing passwords, you can use the brute force attack. Okay, brute force attack is giving the reply, like password is wrong. Then you can go back to check for the DDoS attack. You can make more busy on your DDoS attack. So it was happened, and the Google also got shut down for the seconds. Basically, they have the dependence database. When the one database goes down, the immediately the other database somewhere the other database will serve you. But even Google also faced for the DDoS attacks. Even recently also this happened in our organization. Just 4 days back, this is happened. There was DDoS attacks on our environment. It's very complicated and very challenging for the network people to stop the DDoS attacks. Why? Because if it is coming one IP, okay, sure, we can block the IP. If it is coming multiple IPs, it's very challenging. If it is coming multiple IPs from the multiple countries, look at how it is difficult. Okay, so that's all. The zero day exploit is where that patch is not there. Let's say there is a loop in the access page. The same example again, we'll come back and take the example of the Facebook. So you entered your username and password, you used these special characters. Okay, and Facebook allowed it. You are using somebody's password as an attacker, but the Facebook doesn't know the loop is there. It is allowing the other characters login. So that is a zero-day exploit. Basically, 0 days means that the patch is not ready for the loop, the gap, or for this error. So immediately they have to stop the services, or they have to provide the patch for that. How they provide? They will say that if any special characters are allowed, entered in the password section, it should not be allowed. It should be blocked, or it should be to the warn, or it should be send a notification to the particular user. By how they send? Definitely they will ask your your Gmail ID or phone, or you might ask that the policies, like personal policy, privacy. You said that if anyone is trying to my trying to log into my account more than 3 hours, please send me the notification. If somebody is logged in from other countries, I always stays in India, but somebody accessing my account from other than India, please send me an email. So that's how they will inform me. The password attacks, since so many examples been talked about the password attacks, they will try to compromise your passwords. The cross-site scripting is, we'll discuss detailedly. It is very interesting. We'll talk that. So am I clear for this so far what we discussed?
Yeah.
That's clear.
Okay, we've been talking about user communication, user attacks, password groups. How that does work basically. So this is called the open source interface, OSA layer. So this layer is having that 7 layers basically. The OSA is having 7 layers. Previously, it used to have 3 layers, and basically it was built by USA Army. Later on, USA Army is given to public, the open source. So now, I think I heard that still.
Sorry, Brahmaji, are you sharing any screen or just
Yeah, the screen is there, no? The doc,
okay?
can't you see this one?
No, I don't see any OSA layer screen. Just I'm seeing some MetaTrader. This screen only.
What you're seeing now? The layers of OSA.
No, we
No,
didn't
no.
see it.
Showing now.
No.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
we see.
So the 7 layers of OSA. So later on they built it 7 layers. Basically, how the 3 layers work, let me tell you. Basically, for 4 layers, the 3 layers are same. They include all these above: transport layer, session layers, presentation layer, application layer into one layer. So that's a flow layers. Later on they split it. Why? Because the content has been used and the applications users got increased. So that's how they split it into the each layer separately. Okay, let's say somewhere you are here transmitting some email. Okay, that means you are using Outlook or Gmail or some other Hotmail or any other Yahoo mail. It's a data. That level we call it as the information data. That are data transmitted into the presentation layer. Okay, the presentation layer nothing but is changing the format of the particular application. So it will be bits or ACSSI, some other formats it will be there. So we can't read that one. Okay, the session layer is nothing but the making the sessions established. Let's say you are here, somebody is on other side, so they establish the sessions. Again, the transport layer is having the two transport protocols, TCP and UDP. TCP and UDP, you see that just for the letter words, giving TCP and UDP, it works in the transport layer. The transport layer again send the data to the network layer. The network layer we call it as a packets actually. So the terms also come. The packets again comes into the data link layer. Network layer is again the IPs, subnets, all this split it into the here only in the network layer. Then data. The data again comes into the bits, frames. Sorry. Data into the frames. Frames after bits. Bits is the physical layer. Physical layer is nothing but cabling and everything. Don't worry. In the next image you will get better picture. Okay. Again it is coming from here and going to from here. Let's say cable till the OXA cable, some other Wi-Fi. Physical means nothing but a Wi-Fi router. Then again it's going back to router to data link to network, network to transport to session to presentation to application. You sent an email, he received from the sending order to the Outlook. If you send to the Outlook or some other, you might open that email in the Gmail or same Outlook. So again, he receives to the Outlook. So for the better understanding, so we have other picture. 7 layers of OS. Application layer, end user. As we discussed, end user is we only. End users and what are the protocols works? HTTP, FTP, IRC, SSH, and DNS. There are multiple protocols there. First, for the example, here you can add that like SMTP, or we took the example of email, right? So we can say that there are protocols SMTP or POP. Let's say if you opened your Gmail, that works in the HTTP layer, right? Software is there, but let's say if you are accessing your Gmail through the browser, so it comes in the HTTPS. It's HTTP, but HTTPS. Okay, then after that the syntax layer, SSL, HTTPS. After that, this we discussed that the data should be encrypted, right? The encrypted means security layers or SH layer. IMAP is the again transmitting of the emails, or FTP is file transfer protocols, MPG or JPEG. So these are the images. So basically transmitting. The data is transmitted. Again, the session is the sending to the port or sockets, establishing connection between. The, even the icons also you can see it here. So it's application and images or any security encrypted data. Again, it builds the sessions between the two end users. Transport, end-to-end communication, TCP, UDP. We have the transport. We have only two protocols, TCP and UDP. Why we use the two TCP and UDP? Again, the TCP can't give the acknowledgement. The acknowledgement means, let's say you send us an email, okay, and the TCP works here. So he received it, but TCP will not give the acknowledgement. Saying, or the other is like he will not call, he will not say that I reached to the end user, but UDP will give the acknowledgement. UDP says that okay, if you send through the UDP, after receiving to the end user, UDP says that okay, I reached to the end user. So that's why there are two measures, but UDP can carry more data, TCP can't carry more. So for you, tomorrow there is another task. Please read about TCP, difference between and UDP. Okay. And packets. As we discussed in the network layer, data we call it as the packets. The packet again this.
Hello?
Yeah.
I have one. You said that TCP can't give the acknowledgement.
Yeah.
I think the TCP protocol works on three-way handshake protocol. I think it gives the acknowledgement whether it is received or not.
Three-way handshake is different. Three-way handshake is basically building the connection, establishing connection. It's not acknowledgement. Three-way handshake, we'll talk that. Okay. Is it follow?
Yes, clear.
We'll talk that one. It is there.
Yeah.
Network packets are IP and ICMP, IPsec. It's a security of the network level. The data can't be read by some other people or middle people. So IPsec, ICMP. So we'll discuss all these protocols. And data link layer, again the data calls frames. With data calls frames, the name changes. Internet, POP, switches, bridges, routers, all works in the even the transmitting level. It calls as the data link layer. Physical layer, physical structures like coaxial cable. Let's say if you connected your laptop through some coaxial cable, or you might using wireless, or you might using fiber connections, anything. Let's say that the other example is if you are using hotspot, that is also comes in the physical layer. Again, for the better understanding, sender and receiver softwares, like if you talk about Outlook, Gmail, Yahoo, or Hot, or any other software, it falls all in these layers: and application layer, presentation layer, session layer. So make sure definitely in the interview it comes, have you heard of the OSA layers, how many layers are there, and where that format changes happens. So that happens in the presentation layer, where the TCP and UDP works, transport layer. Okay, when you call frames, the data link layer. What is physical layer? So nothing but a coaxial cable, fiber, Wi-Fi, or anything falls in the physical layers. Okay, what is the network layer? Oh, the layer 3 switch, which layer it works? Network layer. Okay, softwares all falls in the all these three areas. Part of the OSA transport. You pack something and you need to transport. Let's say you have some packet, you need to send it to somebody. Some transport should be there, like lorry or transport bike or anything. So that's why the transmission happens here. Again, hardware level layers, network layer, data link layer, physical layer. Is it clear?
Yes.
So any more doubts so far? Yes. చైతన్య గారు క్లియర్ గానే ఉందా?
క్లియర్.
కృష్ణ ఉండేది టాపిక్ గారు
క్లియర్ గా ఉంది.
పూర్ణ
హలో,
క్లియర్.
ఎనీ డౌట్స్ ఏమైనా ఉన్నాయమ్మా?
అంటే నేను నెట్లో సెర్చ్ చేసిన యూపీ అక్నాలెడ్జ్మెంట్ ఇవ్వదు అని చెప్పి చూస్తున్నాను, అదే చదువుతున్నాను.
అవును, అది ఇప్పుడు చదవకూడదు, ఎందుకంటే ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేసాడు. ఇక్కడ చూడు, క్లాస్ అయిపోయింది చూడు, ఆల్రెడీ రేపు ఉంది కదా టాక్స్ లో. టీసీపీ అకౌంట్ యూడిపి ఇస్తుంది.
ఓకే.
ఈవెన్ యూడిపి కూడా ఉన్నాయి, చాలా డిఫరెన్స్ పాయింట్స్ ఉన్నాయి డిస్కస్ చేయడానికి. సో పోర్ట్ నెంబర్స్, ఓకే, పోర్ట్ నెంబర్స్ 1023 అంటే 0 to 1023 ఉంటాయి. మొత్తం పోర్ట్స్ ఎన్నో అంటే 1024 ఉంటాయి. జీరో కూడా యాడ్ చేస్తారు దాంట్లో. మేజర్ పోర్ట్స్, దీని గురించి ఇంకా డిస్కస్ చేద్దాం. కానీ ఇందులో మేజర్ పోర్ట్స్ అంటే టాప్ 10 అనుకుని, లేదా టాప్ 20లో మనం వాడి పోర్ట్స్ ఏముంటాయంటే నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ 65,532 ఆర్ సంథింగ్ లైక్ దట్. కానీ మేజర్ పోర్ట్స్ అంటే ఫైల్ ట్రాన్స్ఫర్, ఒక ఫైల్ ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ చేయాలంటే ఏ పోర్ట్ వాడుతుంది? పోర్ట్ 20. ఇంకోటి పోర్ట్ 20లో 2 పోర్ట్స్ ఉంటాయి, 20 ఒకటి ఉంటుంది, 21 ఉంటుంది. ఒకటి డేటా ట్రాన్స్మిట్కి, ఇంకోటి కమాండ్ కంట్రోల్ చేయడానికి. అంటే ఒకటి డేటా పంపడానికే పనిచేస్తుంది ఈ పోర్ట్, ఇంకోటి దాన్ని కంట్రోల్ చేయడానికి కనెక్షన్. 22 పోర్ట్ SSH పోర్ట్ ఉంటుంది. ఇంకోటి 23 అంటే టెల్నెట్, ఏదైనా లాగిన్ చేసుకోవాలి, రిమోట్ లాగిన్ చేయాలి, అది రిమోట్ డెస్క్టాప్ చేయాలన్నప్పుడు పోర్ట్ వాడి 23. ఓకే, యాజ్ వి డిస్కస్ దట్ సింపుల్ మెయిల్ ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ SMTP మెయిల్ ట్రాన్స్మిట్ చేయడానికి ఇది ఉపయోగపడితే డిఎన్ఎస్ అంటే డొమైన్ టు నేమ్స్, నేమ్స్ టు డొమైన్ అనమాట. అంటే ట్రాన్స్మిట్ చేస్తుంది ఇది మాట్లాడడం. ఇది పోర్ట్ నెంబర్స్ ఎందుకంటే ఇంకా క్లియర్గా చెప్పాలంటే పోర్ట్ నెంబర్స్ లెట్స్ ఇప్పుడు ఇండియా ఉంది, మనకి ఎన్ని పోర్ట్స్ ఉన్నాయి ఇండియాలో? చెన్నై ఒకటి ఉంది, బాంబే ఉంది, ఓకే, ఇంకా ఏమన్నా పోర్ట్స్? చెన్నైలో 2 పోర్ట్స్ ఉన్నాయి, ఇంకా ఉన్నాయి మనకి పోర్ట్స్. ఎనీ ఐడియా? యాక్టివ్గా లేరు, ఎవరికైనా బిజీగా ఉన్నట్టున్నారు నాకు వదిలేసి.
వైజాగ్ పోర్ట్.
వైజాగ్. సో పోర్ట్ అంటే నథింగ్ బట్ బేసికలీ నీకు ఎక్కడికి డెలివరీ ఇవ్వాలి, ఒక లొకేషన్, ఒక పర్టికులర్ ఒక కనెక్షన్ అయితే ఉండాలి కదా. ఇప్పుడు మనం ఇందులో వెళ్తాం, ఏది నెట్వర్క్ అనుకున్నాం, నెట్వర్క్ లేయర్లో ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ ఉంది, ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్లో ఎక్కడ ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ చేయమంటున్నాం? ఇప్పుడు ఒకవేళ డేటా అనుకో, అంటే ఒకవేళ నువ్వు డేటా వాడినప్పుడు అది ఎక్కడికి ఫైల్ అయితే 24కి ఇమ్మంటావు, ఒకవేళ ఈమెయిల్ సంబంధించింది అయితే 25కి ఇమ్మంటావు, డిఎన్ఎస్ 53 చేస్తుంది. అది HTTP డేటా, వెబ్ డేటా. ఇప్పుడు నువ్వు జీమెయిల్ ఏదైనా యాక్సెస్ చేసావు, యాక్సెస్ జీమెయిల్, అప్పుడు ఏమంటావు? 80 పోర్ట్కి ఇమ్మంటావు. సో ఆ ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ పంపినప్పుడు ఆ పోర్ట్కి మన ఇండికేషన్ ఇవ్వాలన్నమాట. సో ఏ పోర్ట్లో నన్ను డేటా డెలివరీ చేయమంటారు, సో ఆ పోర్ట్ని బట్టి ఆ డేటా ఏంటన్నది డిసైడ్ అయిపోతుంది. POP 3 పోస్ట్ ఆఫీస్ ప్రోటోకాల్ మాట్లాడుతున్నాం. ఈజ్ క్లయింట్ టు రిట్రైవ్ ద ఈమెయిల్స్ ఫ్రమ్ ది సర్వర్, అంటే ఈమెయిల్స్ రిసీవ్ చేసుకోవడానికి. సో నెట్వర్క్ టైం ప్రోటోకాల్, మనకు కంప్యూటర్స్లో చూసి ఉంటారు కదా, టు సీ దట్ దెర్ ఈస్ ఎ టైమ్ ఫ్రమ్ బిలో, యూస్ దట్ వాట్ ఈస్ ద టైమ్. ఇన్ విండోస్ ఐ థింక్ రైట్ సైడ్ బిలో ఉంటుంది, it is Mac, it's not, but basically who is handling that time syncing? Whenever you open, I think we shut down sometimes. Still, when you switch on or on the laptop, you will get the correct accurate time. Who is working on the time syncing? So network time protocol, port number 21. So this is the updated one. Internet message access protocol, management of the digital emails. Let's say you are accessing your emails from the laptop on your mobile. Sometimes you logged, you stopped your net data using on mobile. Still, whenever you again, want to access your mobile emails, it will give the whatever. When you are in the offline, also it will reach the emails. Who is doing on it? Who is responsible for the whenever the mail comes when you are in the offline or whenever accessing some other device? Who is handling the syncing of the data or syncing of the emails? This is the protocol. Internet message access protocol, management of the digital emails. If you are offline or online, or if you are not active since 10 days or 5 days or 2 hours, still it receives and keeps the data. Whenever it comes to the online, you can see the data. So the protocol is 143. Simple network management protocol, port number 161. So whenever you want to configure router or switch or anything, let's say if you logged in into some city and you want to configure your home network, so which protocol it is helping you to configure or establishing the connection for the configuration? That is simple network management protocol. Let's say if you are chatting to somebody on the Facebook or Gmail or in the WhatsApp or anything, the WhatsApp, the operating system is there, but for the understanding, I'm saying who is handling the charts out. When you are dropping a chart, it immediately reaches the other side, the other person also immediately is responding, or sometimes taking time, but the sync is there. Who is behind on this responsibility? Internet relay chart, port number 194. Again, port 443, it's a secured, so HTTPS over the transport layer protocol, security socket layer. So these are the protocols for the encrypting your data from the one user to the other user. When you are accessing, it will encrypt it or either TLS or SSL. The other side is this. So still people are doesn't know. There could be some question saying that which which security layer works for the HTTPS. Is it TLS or SSL? Why TLS? Why not SSL? So TLS got compromised. Latest version is layer 3, the version 3. It got compromised because of the ransomware attack in 2017. How it got compromised? They basically overwhelmed. Even it got some limited memory on the TLS. So they basically filled with that unwanted request on the TLS. So it allowed it, and through SMTP protocol, it's a big chapter. So that's why people still using SSL. It's not using TLS version 3. But some areas like financial sector or any other important areas, they are using both the protocols. So they basically locking with this one, and after that double locking the data. So for tomorrow task, you guys read the what is TLS and SSL, which one you are using. ఓకే, నోట్ చేసుకుంటున్నారా లేదా వింటున్నారా? బాలు
నోట్ చేసుకుంటాం.
ఖచ్చితంగా ఉండాలి. ఇవి ఉన్నాయి ఇంకా ఈ డిస్కషన్ అయిన తర్వాతే మీకు నేను మళ్ళీ వెనక రాగలను. అసలు ఎంతవరకు అర్థమైంది అంటే తెలుస్తాను. దొరికింది ఆన్సర్?
సెర్చ్ చేయట్లేదు యాక్చువల్లీ. అంటే యూడిపి టీసీపీతో కంపేర్ చేసినప్పుడు ఫాస్ట్ ట్రాన్స్మిషన్ ఉంటుంది, దాంట్లో డేటా లాస్ కూడా అక్కర్ అవుతుంది. ఎందుకంటే అక్నాలజ్మెంట్ ఇవ్వదు కాబట్టి. టీసీపీ కనెక్షన్ ఓరియంటెడ్ కాబట్టి అక్నాలజ్మెంట్ ఇస్తుంది, దీంట్లో డేటా లాస్ ఉండదు అని చెప్పి.
టీసీపీ అక్నాలజ్మెంట్ ఇస్తుంది అంటున్నాను అంతేనా? అది రివర్స్ అని నా ఉద్దేశం. సరే చదివి చెప్పినాక పర్లేదు. అయితే మోర్ డేటా క్యారీ చేయగలిగేది యూటీపీఏ, ఆ స్పీడ్ గా పరిగెత్తేది ఏదంటే టీసీపీ. ఆ 2 పాయింట్లు కదా.
ఒకసారి నేను సెర్చ్ చేసి
చూడు పర్లేదు. అది నా అండర్స్టాండింగ్. మేబీ ఐ మైట్ బి రాంగ్, బట్ దట్స్ వాట్ మై అండర్స్టాండింగ్. యూటీపీ అక్నాలజ్మెంట్ ఇస్తే టీసీపీ ఇవ్వదు. Okay guys, we'll stop here, and I want all you guys should go through that homework whatever I give it today. డౌట్స్ ఏమైనా ఉన్నాయి ఇంకా ఇప్పుడు దాకా డిస్కస్ చేసింది?
No, clear.
No,
బ్రూట్ ఫోర్స్ అటాక్ డాస్ ఆ అటాక్స్ లోకి వస్తుంది.
కృష్ణ మాట్లాడితే
పూర్ణను
ఏంటంటే
బ్రూట్ ఫోర్స్ అటాక్ డాస్ అటాక్స్ లోకి వస్తుందా, లేదంటే అది సపరేట్ ఏదైనా పాస్వర్డ్ క్రెడెన్షియల్ స్టీల్ చేసే అటాక్?
బ్రూట్ ఫోర్స్ అంటే బేసికల్గా ఎక్కువగా వాడేది ఈ పాస్వర్డ్ కాంప్రమైజ్ చేయడానికి. అయితే ఆ బ్రూట్ ఫోర్స్ అటాక్ ని మనం డాస్ కానీ డీడాస్ లో కానీ వాడేయచ్చు. ఎందుకంటే అదేంటి, ఇప్పుడు నేను నీ పేరేంటని అడిగా, ఓకే చెప్పు, నీ పేరేంటని అడిగా, మళ్ళీ చెప్పు అట్లా నేను రిపీటెడ్ చేస్తున్నాను అనుకో, నేను బిజీ పెట్టాను కదా. ఇప్పుడు ఎవరైనా కాల్ చేస్తే నువ్వు ఆన్సర్ చేయలేవు, ఇంకో క్వశ్చన్ చేస్తే నువ్వు ఆన్సర్, ఎందుకంటే నేను ఆల్రెడీ మేడ్ యూ బిజీ.
అర్థం.
అట్లా బిజీ చేశాను అనుకో, అది ఏమన్నా ఒక 5 సెకండ్ బిజీ చేశాను అనుకో, అది డాస్. ఓకే సింపుల్ గా ఒక 5 సెకండ్స్ 2 సెకండ్స్. అదే నేను అవర్స్ కొద్దీ నేను అలాగే అడుగుతా ఉన్నాను అనుకో, నువ్వు నాతోనే బిజీ అయిపోవు, నువ్వు ఇంకెవరికి ఆన్సర్ చేయలేవు కదా, అది డీడాస్. మీరు ఇవాళ టాపిక్స్ ఉంటాయి కదా, మీరు గో త్రూ చేయాలి. ఈ వీడియో మనం ఏదైతే ఉందో ఆడియో మీరు చూసింది ఈ సెషన్ వినాలి. ఇంకా విని ఏంటంటే చెప్పినంతసేపు చాలా బాగుంటుంది, ఇది మీ మైండ్కి ఎక్కించుకోవడం కొంచెం టైం పడుతుంది. ఒక్కసారి ఫెమిలియర్ అయిపోయారు అనుకో, చాలా ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్ ఉంటాయి టాపిక్స్ అన్నీ కూడా. ఇప్పుడు నాదేం స్పీడ్గా లేదుగా మీకు చెప్పడానికి. ఇజ్ దర్ ఎనీ స్లోగా బాగానే ఉంది కదా, అర్థమవుతుంది కదా. ఇంకేమైనా ఉంటే చెప్పండి దాంట్లో, అంటే స్పీడ్గా స్లోగా ఇంకా టాపిక్స్ లెస్ తీసుకోవాలి, ఇంకా ఎట్లా ఎలాంటి దాన్ని సజెషన్స్ అట్లా చేద్దాం, తప్పలేదు.
ఏం లేదు, ఇదే కన్సిస్టెన్సీ ఈ ఫ్లో తో వెళ్ళిపోతే చాలు అనిపిస్తుంది.
ఓకే గుడ్. చైతన్య గారు ఉన్నారా, లేచిపోయారా ఇంకా?
లేదు
ఫ్లో బాగుంది కదా.
ఫ్లో బాగుంది, స్లో.
కృష్ణ నీకు?
బాగుంది.
మీరు ఇదే చెప్తున్నా, ఇది ఇప్పుడు చెప్పినవన్నీ ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్ గా మంచి, అవునా నిజంగా కంట్రీస్ ఉంటాయి అటాక్స్ పైన అంటే అది ట్రూ. ఆ షాక్లు ఏమంటామంటే టాపిక్స్ మీద మనం లూజ్ అవుతాం, అవునా వీళ్ళు అటాక్ ఇలా చేస్తున్నారు, అది ఇంకా మనం డీప్ గా వెళ్ళాలి, ఇంకా అవునా ఇలా చేస్తారు. ఇది ఎట్లా అంటే వన్ టైం లెర్నింగ్ సబ్జెక్ట్ కాదు ఇది. ఇది ఎప్పటికప్పుడు రీడ్ చేస్తా ఉంటేనే బుర్రలో బాగా ఫీల్ అవుతూ ఉంటుంది.
బ్రహ్మాజీ